Preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
I'm Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss it. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
Zoe Williams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
I'm here with triple board certified neuropsychologist, Dr. Judy. Thanks for being here. Oh, and Callie. She wants the attention. Callie the lab.
Yes,
and I'm Kyle Kittleson
so
with
sweet.
Med Circle. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I know. We deliver weekly videos on mental health topics that matter to you. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you can make sure not to miss one. Dr. Judy, we're talking about signs of unaddressed trauma that can manifest in people. And these are people who have trauma, but they might not even realize that they have trauma that they haven't dealt with. And so it's manifesting in many different ways. Let's talk about some of those. Let's start with number one.
So number one is a chronic sense of fight or flight. You know, like you're always hypervigilant, you always feel unsettled, sort of keyed up is another way that people talk about it, or they just feel agitated.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sign that there's some unresolved trauma there, because basically there's something that is triggering this idea that you have to run or you have to hide, or maybe that you even have to freeze, which is a lesser talked about third response to traumatic events and major stresses.
Yeah, in our series that we just filmed that talked about this new evidence-based treatment, or newer treatment, which we talk about at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that. You shared a really amazing story about a client you had who had a fear, or not a fear, but a really strong objection to some restaurants.
Yeah, and this happened because ultimately he was able to discover that this was where he first learned that his parents were getting a divorce.
Right.
But for the longest time as an adult, he just didn't want to go near the restaurant. He would have this very visceral reaction. He couldn't explain it cognitively, but it was just, I don't want to be anywhere near that. He would leave when his friends wanted to go. And he didn't really realize why his response was so intense. And finally, when he connected the dots, it was actually very relieving for him to realize, something kind of traumatic happened to me here.
Yes.
And that's why I didn't want to come near this restaurant. And then he allowed himself to cry and to have a huge physiological response, and then now he can go to the restaurant. It's not his favorite, but he's able to tolerate it, and it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, I call that being imprisoned in an invisible jail.
Yeah.
Because you don't even know that you have this unaddressed trauma until you start to learn the signs and then start to become aware of those feelings, and then you can take action.
Right.
So let's move on to the second sign.
So the second sign is chronic fatigue, or always feeling tired. Like no matter how much you sleep, you're just exhausted. Sometimes individuals will even go to seek medical opinions, like what's going on? Do I have chronic fatigue syndrome? Do I have fibromyalgia? Do I have something even worse than that? And then they discover, wow, it's none of those things. It's actually unresolved trauma. And again, this is partially related to that fight or flight response again, because if you're constantly sort of in that fight or flight, well, then you're going to be tired because your body is not designed to be like that long term. It's supposed to have spurts of fight or flight. You navigate that issue, then you move on, your body regulates, it returns to homeostasis. Well, these are individuals who spend way too much time in that fight or flight. Their adrenaline, their cortisol is always running, and that leads to that crash of the fatigue.
Right. Are these relating to you? I'd like to know in the comment section below. Sometimes they sound obvious, but we had never thought of them until you would bring them up. Let's move on to the next one.
So the next one is a sort of sense of chronic pain. So a lot of individuals will have pain in various parts of their body. And again, sometimes it is tied to a medical issue, but a lot of times it's not. So they'll have chronic back pain, chronic shoulder pain, and they don't know why. And there's no good explanation for it. Well, oftentimes that chronic pain is where you're holding the distress. It's a sign that some distress hasn't been processed. And our bodies and our minds are intricately connected. People who used to think that there was a dualism of
You're listening to the Voice of Reason on KBLA Talk 1580. We're on complete fire. Tonight's topic is amazing. It's called Observe, but Don't Absorb. It's a technique that was created by a clinical psychologist by the name of Ross Rosenberg. And it was created to deal with, of course, narcissists. People who are narcissistic, or heavy narcissistic traits. But I believe, because a lot of us, that's why we played that clip of, how you're carrying your trauma. A lot of us are carrying trauma. And I believe this is a technique that we should all learn to use and employ. I don't think it's just for narcissists, but I think, in difficult moments in relationship, being able to observe but don't absorb is good, is very good, right? Like I said, it reminds me from the philosophical standpoint of Krishnamurti's The Observer is the Observed, as well as his famous quote, to be able to observe without judgment is the highest form of intelligence. And I think in intimate relationships, when you're dealing with two broken people that have to get on their healing journey. Again, I don't believe that the healing journey is a never-ending journey. I do believe that samsara can be ended. I do believe that nirvana, that Christ consciousness, that the ecstasy that the Sufi might feel, these higher levels of consciousness are possible, but they require dedication to the process. And many of us are dedicated to sensation than we are dedicated to actually transmuting these wounds from our childhood. I had my caller on, Nikki from Mississippi. She's on complete fire, and I definitely want to get her summation and final thought on tonight's topic.
It's such an inside job.
Ooh.
So if you do the work, then you will seek out spiritual guidance. Mm-hmm. I was saying that I see the priest first. I see the priest first because he can help me often help my physician, because he can help give me direction about what is going on internally so I can guide my doctor to solve my problem. Ooh. Because more often than not, like the clip was saying, where I feel the pain isn't where the pain lives.
Where I feel the pain isn't where the pain lives.
It's just showing up where I feel it.
Oh, so where's the address? What's its address?
Now, that's why I got to talk to the priest.
Come on.
Because he can help me, because he knows me. Not the one you see, not the one on this phone, but the real me. Mm-hmm. So he can help me pinpoint where my dis-ease is that's causing the pain to show up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just consider this, because it's an inside job. Seek out your spiritual guidance first. And then go see your physician.
Nikki from the
SIP. In the building.
Nikki from the SIP. Mississippi is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call us at 1-800-920-1580. Nikki was on complete fire. But this is why I will mix psychology, philosophy, spirituality. I'll mix it all together. You hear what she said? She goes to the priest first. Now, let me grab your memory
And we had a clip at the end of the second hour. It was of Dr. David R. Hawkins. And he was talking about being the field, right? In relation to what he meant by being the field, and in relation to what Nikki was talking about, I'm going to go to my priest first to find out the address of this wound. Do you see? What did Albert Einstein say? Listen to Albert Einstein said, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. There is an energy field around every particle. Listen to what he's, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Do you understand? See, we get caught up in the image and the ego associated with being a particle, not remembering that the field governs our existence. And the field can be a receptacle. So guess what? Your field was contaminated. But your field is a part of the field, and any contaminants can be cleaned from within. The field is the sole governing particle or governing agency of the particle, right? Rumi, the wound is where the light enters. But nobody taught us. Do you understand? Nobody taught us this from childhood. So we grow up making mistakes. We grow up seeing intimacy. And I'm just saying, if you have an insecure attachment style, or if you suffered any type of PTSD or CPTSD, any type of ACEs, right? Adverse childhood experiences. If you suffered any of that, if you suffered any emotional dysregulation or lack of emotional attunement, this stuff is going to work its way out into your adult relationships. So now intimacy becomes an enemy. Empathy becomes an impediment. Do you understand? Listen. The word care, Old English, karu, means sorrow, anxiety, grief. Also, burdens of the mind, serious mental attention. In Old English, also means concern, caused by apprehension of evil or the weight of many burdens. From Proto-Dramatic, karo, lament, grief. That's what our word care means. A newer word, which is the one I choose. Don't do it. That's why I say I don't call it self-care. I call it self-empathy. It's a newer word, 1908, modeled on the German term Infallung, meaning feeling, which was coined in 1858 by German philosopher Rudolf Lotze, 1817 to 1881, as a translation of the Greek term empathia. Of course, the root of empathia is pathos, feeling. So it's feel for oneself. But when you've been broken by your relationship model, the relationship potter's hands, right, which is your parents, you go out to look for it, or you isolate yourself inside to avoid it. Do you see? This is why techniques like learning how to observe but not absorb is very, very, very powerful. It's a tool that can save your relationships in those difficult moments when what was unhealed peeks it or pokes its head out, right? Narcissistic enlightenment. Why Rosenberg's method turns sociopaths into Krishnamurti's ideal detached sages. See, When you're unhealed, you're going to be a sociopath. I'm sorry. You're going to treat people like they don't matter. You're going to discard people. You're not going to care. Whatever love you thought you had for them was really a weak emotional adhesive. And when it stopped sticking, you let it go as if it never existed. This is how you know people are not really connecting on a deep level. Do you understand? Here's the trigger. It proposes that sociopaths are spiritually advanced non-absorbers. Here's the empirical insight. Narcissists, 40% insula hyperactivity, according to Hawkins, which matches Krishnamurti's observer state, making Rosenberg's technique redundant for them. Doesn't even have any effect on them because they don't feel, they don't empathize. So they can observe without absorbing. This is why we did this topic tonight. We don't want Rosenberg's technique to be misunderstood as this avoidance tool, as this sociopathic tool where I can observe you and not absorb anything about. No, that's detachment, that's disassociation. Even Rosenberg called it a positive form of disassociation himself. I'm saying, no, we have to cultivate non-attachment where we're present, where we can empathize, where we can consider, where we can still value the person, but not be attached to a particular outcome that is dictated by an unhealed wound that needs supply. Does that make sense? I'm talking to you guys like you could talk back. Get to your phone lines. Number to dial 1-800-920-1580. I'm very interested to know what you guys think. We explained the word empathy. We explained the word care, right? We even told you about the field. There's an amazing book out there called The Field that talks about the field as a governing principle at the subatomic level as well. That's the microscopic level, but also in the macro. The field. See, a theoretical physicist doesn't want to call it God, but I will. For lack of a better word, I'll call it God. The field is the sole governing agency of the particle. The particle could be the person. And from a far enough distance away, a person looks like a particle, governed by a field. What is the field? In the Quran, they'll say it's a aura or hala. The Bible says the angels had auras around their body. You have one too, an electromagnetic field around your body. The field, according to Einstein, is the sole governing agency of the particle. Many of us think we are the thing as the particle, not knowing our purpose, our mission, everything about us. Do you understand? Is being governed by the field. Our relationship choices, our parents, who we are as a person. And guess what? We do have some say. When I come forward, I'm going to tell you what it is.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting, on Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up, and we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 Days and Counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Keep the heads ringing. So get up, get a move on, and get your groove on. It's the DRE, the spectacular. In a party, I go for your neck, so call me Blackula. As I drain a victim's jugular vein and maintain the leave bloodstains. So don't complain, just chill. Listen to the beats I spill. Keeping it real enables me to make another meal. Still, brothers run up and try to kill it will, but get popped like a pimple. So call me clearer still. I wipe fools off the face of the earth since birth. I've been a bad boogers. Now let me tell you what I'm worth. More than a stealth bomber, I cause drama, the enforcer. Music floats like a flying saucer or a 747 jet. Never forget, I'm that brother that keeps the girls' panties wet. The mic gets smoked once you hear the beat kick with grooves so.
Everyone today is talking about the impact of AI on various fields, including mental health. And people are asking the question, can an AI do therapy? And my opinion is absolutely yes. And then there's another interesting question, though, which is, can an AI replace therapists? And to that, my answer is actually probably not. And you may be thinking for a second, hold on a second, if a AI can do therapy, how can it not replace therapists? In order to understand how an AI can do therapy and at the same time not replace therapists, we have to understand how therapy actually works. And we're going to start with sort of a historical framework. So let's remember that therapy is built on the foundation of something called psychoanalysis, which was done by people like Sigmund Freud and Jung. And essentially what they would do is have their patients lay down on a couch and they would sit behind them. And the patients would do something called free associate, which is just basically think out loud. And the psychoanalyst would say very little. And they would do this for about 1 hour a day. So you basically go into the office, you lay down, and you just talk about whatever kind of things pop into your head. And the analyst is sitting behind you and like just paying attention. And eventually what they would do is come to these ideas about what's going on in your subconscious. They would translate all this random crap you were saying and sort of formulate, okay, this person has this kind of problem in their subconscious. And then they would sort of work on that in some way, and then presumably this person would get better. If this sounds like it's kind of a load of crap, other people sort of agreed with that as well, including the behaviorists. So the behaviorists came along and they were like, hey, all this crap with the subconscious sounds like BS. And at the end of the day, like, whatever is happening in the unconscious is not nearly as important as what people actually do. And instead of plumbing the depths of the unconscious, what we should do is help people change their behavior. And this sort of idea evolved into something called cognitive behavioral therapy, which isn't concerned with the subconscious. What it's concerned with is the relationship between our thoughts, the things that we think, our feelings, our emotions, and our behavior. And if we work on these three components, we can help human beings. And we did a bunch of research on both of these things, and we found that they're basically both effective. And so then what happened is therapists were trying to figure out, okay, these things are fundamentally different. One is fixing your unconscious, which will then result with natural changes to your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, whatever. And over here, you've got a different camp who's like,
but again, I hate to ding the Western thought here. Do you see? I hate to ding the Western thought. But I must. A lot of sisters that are clinicians are understanding that the Western linear thought process lacks spirituality. Psychology started as the study of the soul. If you look up the word, right? Psyche was soul. Ology, study of the soul. But based on what he just said, and that is the reason, we don't. First off, somebody sitting behind you, you talking, will not give you insight into their subconscious. So you heard me write, or you've read my work in the relationship dismount, where I say we're in a shared experience with each other that neither one of us can have a direct experience of each other's experience of this shared experience. In other words, we're together in this, but you can't know my direct experience of us, and I can't know your direct experience of us. The only thing you can do is tell me about it. Do you see? So there's the limitation of psychology. It doesn't deal with the spirit, which is why they shifted to behavior. So when you look at the technical definition of it now, it is behaviors, emotions, and thoughts, right? Oh, you have these type of thoughts. You want to hurt yourself, or you feeling like negative thoughts, right? You have negative emotions, or you behaving this way. Do you see they try to deal with the surface level, which is the symptom, which goes back to Nikki. When Nikki said, I go to the priest. Well, a lot of sisters that are clinicians are starting to elevate psychology by infusing it with spirituality, which is starting to answer some of those questions. When we come forward, you think I'm done cooking? Wrong.
1, 2 for the crew, 3, 4 for the dough, 5 for the hoe, 6, 7, 8 for death row. Mad brothers about to feel the full effect of intellect, so I can collect respect. Plus a check, now I'm been to get into my mental and take care of this business I need to attend to, cause my rent's due, and the rap game's my meal ticket. So you goddamn right I'ma kick it, or get evicted. I bring terror like Stephen King, or Black Casanova, running brothers over like Christine.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. A California bill offering home buying aid to descendants of slaves is advancing despite legal concerns. Critics question its race-based implications, while bill author Tina McKenna, a black lawmaker, says eligibility is not limited by race, just lineage. Black Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott has named Calvin Young III as his new chief of staff effective April 9th. Young, a senior advisor and former campaign treasurer, replaces Marvin James, who was stepping down. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams' plan to cut income taxes for low-income New Yorkers is likely to be approved in the upcoming state budget. The Axe the Tax plan would eliminate taxes for a family of 4 making under $46,000 or a single person under $31,000. And measles cases are rising nationwide with more than 400 confirmed so far. Black communities face higher death rates in outbreaks like this due to lower vaccination rates. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready? Drop it! Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Bam! Out of nowhere. Crashed, hurt, don't panic, don't wait, don't call your insurance company. Call 877-CARE-LAW, the car accident attorneys who care about your case and win you the big money you deserve. Car accident, serious injury. Other firms just handle cases. We own them at 877-CARE-LAW. We're the premier injury law firm with a powerhouse team of medical experts who prove your injuries, fight for your rights, and get you the max payout fast. No fees unless you win. Dial 877-CARE-LAW now or visit 877carelaw.com.
877-CARE-LAW, 877-CARE-LAW. Hurt in a crash, don't stall, just call 877-CARE-LAW. Faster wins, bigger pay. After an accident, call right away. 877-CARE-LAW, 877-CARE-LAW.
Car accident, injury, don't call your insurance company. Call one team, one win. 877-CARE-LAW. Call now or go to 877carelaw.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Bobbing your head, 'cause I can see you. Yeah, I know you're bobbing your head, 'cause I can see you. Yeah, I know you're bobbing your head, 'cause I can see you. Yeah, I know you're bobbing your head, 'cause I can see you. You can't see me. Back up in that once again with some of that dad. Beating up on your eardrums with some of that G-funk, some of that gangster funk, some of that ghetto funk. Call it what you want, just don't forget the G. The dog pound in the house.
Now tell me what's popping in your head, my brother.
What you won't do, end up dead, motherfucker.
I don't know why we got to kill each other.
Cause on the streets is do or die, motherfucker.
I was a child, I was raised in the church. Now what it possessed me to do this that I do to put you in the dirt? I give some fuck about a nigga on the streets. I'm running 94 when I done ran 93. I like no hurdle, but the murders I committed and my homie folk convertible and not a soul saw who did. As I lean to the side and my homie G ride on the mission, 4 deep, dog pound, do or die.
Now if you see me mobbing down the streets, what would you think?
Nah.
Realizing that I'm surviving off instinct. What makes my mind hit the perfect timing for me to twist, switch and rip the fuck up like The Shining? Cause I'm in my own zone, alone I'm found. Empty inside, but death is all around like a ghost town. Perhaps you know I act so fool if I have to. Can you comprehend or adapt to? Respect to the devil.
You never know what kind of a plan or contract you have made on the other side before you come in. So don't try to get out of it too soon. The best is yet to come. You don't know what the rest of the contract is. First, you have to get rid of all the old junk, the garbage and the baggage out of your life. And then you can move into what you really came for. So many people come to see me and they said, I want out. I want to commit suicide. I don't want to be here anymore. They don't realize what they've contracted to do. Of course, if you get out too soon, you got to come back and do it again. You don't get out of anything. That's not the way the law of karma works.
Dolores Cannon is shooting from the free throw. I mean, goodness gracious. But that's the spiritual piece, right? And the reason why this is all very important, because Ross Rosenberg created something for hurt people, for wounded people. He was like, hey, codependents are dealing with, narcissists. So they need a way to communicate with them, right? Observe, don't absorb. But what I'm saying is most of us are broken, and in being broken, this is how we interface with each other. We interface with each other based off of how can you soothe my wounds? What can you give my wounds? Listen to what I'm about to say. Consistently, right? That will keep me here with you or will cause me to view you as a viable choice. Now, because, I listen, they haven't done any real research on this, but I would argue that the majority of people you've met, have an insecure attachment style. Doesn't mean your insecure attachment style cannot be turned secure, but I would wager that the majority of people have insecure attachment styles, right? So we're going to have to learn a technique like observe, don't absorb, right? But Krishnamurti's is a little bit different. It's observe because what you're observing is a mirror reflection of you. and your internal process. These are, so if you get Patrick Carnes and he tells you that wounds can bond, that means that's not the only thing in your spirit observing something. Dolores Cannon is saying you signed up for this before you got here. Remember, I told you attachment is a type of gravity to keep you buckled in your seat while you're in school on planet Earth. Planet Earth is the campus. Relationship is the curriculum. This is why you find yourself attached to toxic people, because you came from somewhat toxic people. And toxicity is on the spectrum. So some people are more toxic, some people are less toxic. But you need these types of techniques. Observe, don't absorb. But if you do that and you're unhealed, you run the risk trying to observe from the consciousness level of shame or guilt, right? What's going to happen? This is why in my research, it keeps coming up with AI. Well, AI can, do therapy with zero amygdala activation. Amygdala, strong emotions, right? So what's happening? We're creating a society of avoidance. People who don't want the full spectrum of intimacy. Do you see that? They don't want the full spectrum. They want all the perks, but not the full spectrum of intimacy. And we said it earlier today, quoting Rumi. You guys are a very intelligent audience. I have to say that. People in the chat, people calling it, very intelligent audience, because you're understanding that, hey, in order for me to be intimate, I must be empathetic. In order for me to be empathetic, I must feel. In order for me to feel, I must be vulnerable. In order for me to be vulnerable, I must hurt. I must allow myself to hurt and be hurt and hurt others. That's a type of vulnerability. I think people don't really see that, right? But Krishnamurti is saying, hey, if you're forever observant of self, right, as you come into relationships, forever observant of you, why do I respond this way? Why do I react this way? What is happening that causes me to be, aggressive or dismissive or condescending or disrespectful or lack emotional regulation? Why is that the case? And when you start to go deeper into who you are and where you came from, you get to say something about it. You get to say, you know what? I want to rewrite that narrative about myself, right? Because to me, observe, don't absorb could potentially create an emotionalist kind of relational automaton. Now, the corresponding piece to that is Dr. David R. Hawking's work on the consciousness grid when he talks about the 400. 400 is the numerical value of intelligence on his consciousness grid. And he says this is a powerful space. He says Einstein was at 400, right? He named a bunch of scientists that calibrated at 400, but here's the weakness of intelligence without empathy. You become robotic. Look around these new kids, this new generation of intimate, man, they can ghost you. They can disconnect as if you never existed. Just look around. We live in a generation where feeling is not prioritized. What's prioritized is receiving, getting, entitlement. So in a way, if we're not careful, it's almost like we're cultivating a toxic, society in terms of connectivity. Somebody says they wear hoodies in 104 degrees. Okay. We got Kelly on the line from Detroit. Hey, Kelly, hold tight. When we come forward, we about to go to Detroit. They about to keep it real. Dietrich, let's get it.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
I found out that one of my players was vaping. I brought him in and asked him, where did this stuff come from? He said, it's bigger than you think, coach. He had told me that almost everybody in my team was vaping. The next day, all the parents came in, and I said, hey, you as parents need to do your part. You guys need to figure out how, why, and when this stuff is happening, and we got to get it fixed.
Coach Sanchez and his team took vaping head-on. Learn how he and other Californians are beating big tobacco at undo.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now in my younger days I used to sport a shag. When I went to school I carried lunch in a bag with
Here's another really critical piece that I see people fall apart around that I would love to talk about that I think is pivotal, and that is emotional detachment is a terribly scary thing. And it also, the reason we really dislike it is because it is, in a way, a death of a relationship.
Yeah.
And so you becoming healthy in the midst of these contexts, whatever it is, family, friends, or with a partner, you have to say, I will be me. I will continue to honor me regardless of whether or not this relationship likes it. And I need to be okay with it may spell the end of this relationship, which means giving up the hope of change. You're no longer working for the promotion of change in this relationship. You're working towards your own end. And that can feel like the me in the middle of that relationship, that would have felt like a massive betrayal.
That's what we've been saying all night. Come on. I love it. I love it. We can't let observe, but don't absorb, turn us into relational robots, automatons. We can't allow that. Kelly from Detroit, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Hi, so great topic.
Thank you.
Okay, I probably need to come off of the earpiece.
No, you sound good to me, but go ahead. You sound all right to me.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get I love the show, all your shows, the ones I get to listen to, but this one, I think the ability to be non-attached and observant, it takes years, I think, to get to that point. And I'm saying that because I do it every day at work, just at the grocery store, at the bowling alley. I'm observing, and I'm not attached. And it's a protection mode. And I realize that I share with my adult children. I have a 34-year-old son and a 30-year-old daughter, and I share it with them because that generation and people in our generation, like the 50-year-olds, a lot of people are seeking validation from other people. And you want validation, but you end up getting something else, or you end up not getting what you thought you were trying to get. So, but the having that skill to be able to observe and not be attached is great, but it's lonely.
It is lonely. That's why non-attachment.
It's very lonely.
This is why we said earlier in the show, non-attachment is the key. I'm present. The only thing that I'm detached from is the outcome. I still care. I can still empathize. Because again, you're illustrating the point that we're worried about with Ross Rosenberg's technique, right? It creates these non-emotional observers where there's no real connection. And what is a relationship without connection?
But the connections are toxic.
So yes, go into the toxicity of it. But guess what? How do you work through the toxicity?
I think that's why I'm not attached, because I'm like most relationships, not all, but most, especially in our culture, are toxic.
So
the female relationship,
but
the male female
but Kelly,
relationship.
stay with me. You know what you're doing. Let's just call it what it is. You're running. You're disassociating. You're disconnecting. Right? Am I wrong? Okay, so let's go deeper. I don't quote this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't quote
so
this
what,
stuff.
That's wrong?
But,
The disconnect is wrong?
But listen, you have to transcend the discomfort. You have to transcend the pain. This is why we quote it. Rumi, the light or the wound is where the light enters. Where you've been hurt is where your illumination will begin. So how do you, it's almost like you're playing hooky from Spirit School, which is relationship. Everybody's toxic. That's my justification. I'm out. I'll just observe without emotion. This is why we name part of the show empathic eugenics, right? The death of empathy. You are going to have to develop empathy for yourself and for your partner because you're both human beings and flawed. So now you're basically saying, I want a relationship that is devoid of any pain, just pleasure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. No, I get what you're saying.
Because I know inside you want intimacy, don't you?
Of course.
Yeah. But you want it on your terms. So does that make you a controller?
I want it on my terms. I'm just repeating what you said. So does that make me a controller? No, I just think that, because I had intimacy. I was in a relationship. He died in 2020, and it was beautiful. And it was easy. Mm-hmm. It was easy. Even when it was bad, it was easy.
Is it supposed to be easy?
Because he was.
Let me ask. Your childhood, was it easy?
No.
So why do you think it's supposed to be easy? When the observer is the observed.
You need a soft place.
Do you see?
You need a soft place. You need a soft place.
So maybe he, because there are people out there that will, and there are relationships out there where you say, you know what, I'm a date, and I'm not saying you're dating down, but you might be dating spiritually down just so it can be easy.
No, I'm not even saying that. So no, I'm not saying it because I'm not even saying that. That relationship was wonderful. I believe it. Even when it was bad, it was wonderful, and it wasn't. I feel like now what I'm having what I've met since I've been single now is I will be dating down, and I'm like, I don't want to adjust to that.
I love it.
I
love it.
I don't want to adjust to that. Like, I think you're a nice guy. I'm not going to tell you how to treat me. I think you're a man. You should know how to treat me.
Right.
But if this is what you're going to do, okay, I don't like that. I'm not mad at you, but we're not going to do anything in a relationship type of way. We could be friends.
Oh.
Because that's what I'm used to. Like, that man, I didn't have to tell that man how to treat me.
So, Kelly,
I didn't have to tell him where to take me, when to call me, how to call me.
So, Kelly, it's at the beginning of the week. I need to hear from you tomorrow because we got to finish this, okay? We're up against the clock. I got it.
Yes.
But please, call in tomorrow. I want to talk to you, okay?
Okay, yeah. I can go deep, though, because I love you. I've watched you since 5150.
I love it, and I expect to hear from you tomorrow, okay? All right. SL from Charlotte, real quick. SL from Charlotte.
Good, man.
Brother, I'm sorry, but you got to call back tomorrow. Is that okay? Please call back tomorrow so we can finish this, all right?
I ain't no doubt, man. I'm in Charlotte tomorrow, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Listen, you've been listening to the Voice of Reason on KBLA Talk 1580. Like I said, we all over the country. Love the discussion. I'm going to have another slapper of a topic tomorrow. Just tap in with me, all right? Deuces.
Now she stopped fronting and wants to speak and be coming to all the shows every single weekend. To get his people number, she be begging please. Dying for the day to get skis. She caught the vapors. She caught the vapors.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.